All right, so, we love to get into the nitty-gritty of these tech specs, and you guys sent in something interesting, the RF exposure information for the Apple Watch Series 10.
Yep, the GPS plus cellular 46 millimeter case.
We're talking SAR values, and we're going to break it all down, like what it actually means for you when you're using this thing every day.
Absolutely. SAR stands for specific absorption rate.
Right.
It's basically the rate at which your body absorbs RF energy, radio frequency energy.
Okay.
And it's fascinating because, right off the bat, you see that these safety limits, they actually change based on where the device is. Is it against your head or is it on your wrist?
And on top of that, like, it's not just about where you're wearing it, right? I mean, the document even points out that these SAR limits, they can change depending on, like, what country you're in.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. So some countries, they're going to set the limit at 1.6 watts per kilogram.
Mm.
And that's averaged over 1 gram of tissue for, like, when it's against your head.
Mm.
And then for the wrist, it's 4 watts per kilogram over 10 grams. But then you've got other countries that have a 2 watts per kilogram limit, and that's over 10 grams for the head.
Okay.
And the wrist limit stays consistent at 4 watts per kilogram over 10 grams. So there's clearly, different standards globally for this stuff.
So how do they even come up with these numbers? I mean, like, what's the science behind it? This document mentions testing conditions.
Yeah. To get these SAR values, Apple tested the watch's radios at their highest transmission power.
Okay.
And they basically put the watch in positions that simulate how you'd actually use it.
Right.
So against the head with a 10 millimeter separation.
Okay.
And directly on the wrist with no gap.
So that 10 millimeter gap when they're testing it against the head, like, why is that specific distance so important?
Well, it simulates holding the watch near your ear, but not, like, pressed directly against it.
Ah, okay.
So they're recommending you keep at least that 10 millimeter distance when you have the watch near your face.
Gotcha.
That way your exposure stays within those levels that they measured during the tests.
So, like, if I'm taking a quick call on speakerphone and I have my watch right up to my ear, that's like a whole different ball game than what they tested.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
Keeping that little bit of space there ensures your exposure is similar to what they tested.
Makes sense.
Now let's look at the actual reported SAR values for this specific Apple Watch Series 10.
Okay.
We're talking models A3003 and A3206.
All right, so under that 1.6 watts per kilogram limit for the head, they got a highest reported SAR of 1.08.
Okay.
Then for the 2 watts per kilogram limit over 10 grams for the head, it's 0.26.
Mm-hmm.
And for the wrist, with the 4 watts per kilogram limit over 10 grams, the highest reported SAR was 0.83.
So as you can see, all of these test scenarios they did,
Yeah.
with both sets of international limits, this Apple Watch Series 10, it's reporting SAR values that are well below those safety thresholds they set.
That's reassuring to know. So these tests are meant to kind of simulate, like, the worst case scenario, right? Like with the device cranked up to max power.
Yeah, exactly. And what's cool about this is, thinking about you, the listener, it really highlights all the levels of testing and regulation that goes on behind the scenes with the technology we use every day.
Right.
And you know what I think is super interesting is, like, why do these different SAR limits even exist across the globe?
Yeah.
Like, what are the different philosophies or the data points that are driving these varying standards for what they consider acceptable RF energy absorption?
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you think about all the information we come across about device safety and all the different frameworks that are out there behind it.
That's a great point. Something to ponder for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for breaking all that down for us.
Of course. Happy to be here.
All right, we'll catch you guys next time on The Deep Dive.
See ya.